Blog Talk Radio.
I appeared before the Congressional Committee to tell what I knew of activities which might lead to an attempt to set up a fascist dictatorship.
The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings.
President Bush signed a formal agreement that will end the United States as we know it. And he took the step without approval from either the U.S. Congress or the people of the United States.
The secret organizations of the world power elite are no longer secret.
It's known as the Bilderberg Group. Could their objective be world domination?
I'm Jim Tucker. I've chased Bilderberg for 30 years. I'll never give up the chase. Bilderberg's plan for the whole world is nothing less than world government.
I'm not comfortable with that at all. Who elected these guys to run the planet?
They are the elitists. They feel they should run the world for their own selfish interests.
Now we can see a new world coming into view. A world in which there is the very real prospect of a new world order.
Bilderberg is making great progress toward a world government, and only an educated, informed public can stop them in their tracks.
David Rockefeller admits in his own memoirs that he wants to destroy the United States. He's a traitor!
It's good to be back at the Council on Foreign Relations. As Pete mentioned, I've been a member for a long time and was actually a director for some period of time. I never mentioned that when I was campaigning for re-election back home in Wyoming.
Let us never tolerate outrageous conspiracy theories.
I need you to move off the property.
Shots were fired.
Bilderberger's right there.
The Trans-Texas Corridor is a vital part because we stop here in Texas. We stop the New World Order right here in Texas.
This thing started here. And to save this country, we kill this damn thing here.
A chance for the President of the United States to carry out a phrase his father used, and that is a New World Order.
Your New World Order will fall. Humanity will defeat you. The answer to 1984 is 1776.
microchipped. In 2005, Congress, under the pretense of immigration control and the so-called War on Terrorism, passed the REAL ID Act, under which it is projected by May 2008, you will be required to carry around a federal identification card, which includes on it a scannable barcode with your personal information. However, this barcode is only an intermediary step before the card is equipped with a VeriChip RFID tracking module, which will use radio frequencies to track your every move on the planet. If this sounds foreign to you, please note that the RFID tracking chip is already in all new American passports. And the final step is the implanted chip, which many people have already been manipulated into accepting under different pretenses.
We have a Florida family who are really pioneers in a brave new world. They have volunteered to be the first ever to have microchip identification devices implanted into their bodies.
After 9/11, I was really concerned with the security of my family.
I wouldn't mind having something planted permanently in my arm that would identify me.
In the end, everybody will be locked into a monitored control grid where every single action you perform is documented. And if you get out of line, they can just turn off your chip, for at that point in time, every single aspect of society will revolve around interactions with the chips. This is the picture that is painted for the future if you open your eyes.
You're watching The Madness of a Lost Society. November 26, 2010. Black Friday revealed yet further evidence of the complete madness of the populace of our lost society.
In case you didn't hear, the leaders of China and Russia.
China and Russia said that they are renouncing the dollar.
The best way to think of it is a ticking time bomb. At some stage, the dollar will fall sharply.
Now, you might be saying, Neil, what the heck does this mean to me?
As the dollar loses status as the world's reserve currency, as mystery missiles launch just off our shores, as North and South Korea take the world to the brink of war, as the TSA violates all measure of liberty and constitutional rights, and as the U.S. military itself prepares for the coming total economic collapse and breakdown of civil order, this is what Americans care about. Wanton, lustful commercialism, acting like animals fighting over trinkets made by human beings for slave wages. As you watch this horrific video, do you think any of these people own a single ounce of physical precious metal? Any gold? Any silver? Do you think that even one of them understands what the Federal Reserve is, or that the Fed is spending them into oblivion and economic slavery? Do you think even one among them has made any preparations at all for the day when there is no food on grocery store shelves? And do you think the morally bankrupt executives at Target or Walmart even care? This is what we've become. A decadent, mindless culture who, by virtue of this complete and willful ignorance, are now officially complicit in the crimes being perpetrated against us. Do you think these people who behave like animals, literally trampling each other over $198 laptops and $10 toasters, will even pause for a moment to consider their actions before they riot and burn entire cities when the days of hyperinflation finally arrive? When the grocery stores are bare? When they are truly desperate? This, my friends, is what a dumbed-down, morally bankrupt, completely broken society looks like, and this is how it behaves. No outrage over the bankers raping them. No outrage over their gutted industry. No outrage over their plundered dollar. Just blind, wanton stupidity. Just bread and circuses. The elite are social Darwinists, and they believe what they can get away with is fair game as long as we allow it. This is social engineering, and they've done it to us by design. They've turned us into animals that they can corral. We are no longer citizens in a republic safeguarded by our elected representatives. We are consumers feeding at a corporate trough managed by officials.
Will you tell the American people to whom you lent $2.2 trillion of their dollars?
Hundreds and hundreds of banks, any bank or that has access to the U.S. Federal Reserve's discount.
Tell us who they are.
No.
If this is America, who will stop them? Our entire system is corrupt and needs to be dismantled and begun anew. But from what base? If what happened on Friday across America is any indication of the condition of the American populace, then our very foundations are built of sand. May God forgive us for what we've become and for what we've allowed to happen to our nation. And may those of us with the courage and sense to do it renounce this behavior and the monstrous marketing ploy that is Black Friday in its entirety. This, my friends, is not us. We are the Republic. We are the informed. We are the proactive ones, and it is our job to lift up those who are lost. And saving our Republic is a full-time job. May God bless the Republic.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Joseph Gibson. We're on Blog Talk Radio tonight. Sorry for the extended intros tonight, but having technical difficulties. It seems like once a week this is happening, and it's really starting to become a little frustrating and aggravating, but, you know, these are man-made machines here, and everyone's changing everything every day, trying to make things better, but they only make them worse. Just leave things alone. If it works now, leave it alone. If it works good now, leave it alone. We never had these problems a month and a half ago when I first started. Now, every week, we're having problems. Connections breaking up. I lost everybody on the show the other night. Well, excuse me, one night it was. And then I got an email from the CEO of Blog Talk Radio saying that they're integrating their systems. They're doing this to make it better for us and for the listeners. Well, how about telling us before you do this? Why would you do it when you have over 250 talk show hosts out there around the country scheduling a program for 6:30 at night, and you go ahead and decide to do this, and everybody gets cut off, and we don't know what the hell happened? You know, no answers. You know, I didn't even respond to that email because I knew I wouldn't get an answer. But, you know, and then the other night, I don't know what happened there. People were telling me, hey, the Pope landed in New York. They're jamming everybody's phones and blah, blah, blah. And I have seen that happen because when Obama comes to town here in North Carolina, in Greensboro or Raleigh, or Biden there, when Hillary came to campaign, they would jam your cell phones. Your cell phones were down, sometimes 1, 2, 3 hours at a clip. So I know that's true. It's 100% true. It's a fact. And if there's anyone out there who's been around the President of the United States or the United Snakes, of America, or around Biden or any other high-profile politician or the Pope even, were you able to use your cell phone? I doubt it. So they are able. So if they're able to jam it just for that, imagine what else they can do. So that's what happened the other night. And then tonight, I don't know what's going on. I had a special audio clip for everyone that I did download, and I replayed it this afternoon just to make sure before I advertised it. And now it's not here. I don't know where it is. I don't know where it went, what happened. I can play it through my computer, but I'm not sure everyone will hear it clearly. I'm going to try it, and hopefully someone will type in the chat box and let me know if they can hear it clearly. If not, I'll have to work on it and play it for you guys tomorrow night. What this clip is about is I was on a show a couple days ago. I tell you, I go around to the other shows, and I, scrolling around, seeing what they're talking about, and, try to learn from other people. And I came across this show, and they were talking about a lot of things that hit home with me. And I disagreed with them 100%. They were totally wrong in everything they were talking about. And come to find out after research, they're a cult, and they have their own private network of people that listen to them around the country, and they don't want outsiders listening. Which, hey, that's fine. It's like if we wanted to do our own little thing where I only had about 10 or 15 people that I wanted to listen to me, and that's it, then that's fine. That's our choice. But that's what they were doing. But they ticked me off so much with their propaganda and silliness and what they were talking about. It was just, utter nonsense. I had to try to get onto this show. So I used my brains the best I could. I used a psychological attack on them. What I did was I enticed them to, and I kind of drew them in to try to get me on there because they wouldn't let anyone on. And by typing in the chat box certain messages and using certain phrases and words, I kind of reeled them in. And the other people in the chat room were like, hey, you need to get this guy on. So my foot was in the door. The host did not want to do it. Finally, the last 8 minutes of the show, he just couldn't hold out. He had to get me on. You say, if you hold a carrot in front of somebody and you just keep dangling it, he's going to jump. They're going to jump. Okay? So, and if you're don't understand what I'm talking about. What I'm trying to say is this person is a fanatic and a cult. Okay, and if you've ever studied cults, I have. Okay, through my correspondence courses, through Yale and Quinnipiac and Ohio University, I did study cults, and I did major in theology also for several years. And one of the main courses we did is we studied cults, the Mormons, the Jehovah's Witnesses, and these are cults. They have self-proclaimed prophets who they believe can heal them. Okay, kind of like the Pope in a way. You know, a lot of people, they were crying, kneeling down, heal me, you know, kissing his ring, kissing his feet. I mean, what's wrong with people? What is wrong with you? You know, I saw Mary in a tree, so what do? They start lighting candles, they stand around it, and then bowing down to it, you know, and praying to it. You know, I saw Mary in a pancake yesterday, so what do? They take all the pancakes in their house, and they put it in their front yard. Next thing you know, you got news cameras. They saw Mary in their pancake. It's true. There are people out there, and there are news stories where this actually happens. Look them up. And, you know, you'll get 20 or 30 people who actually believe this crap. They actually believe it, and they'll do anything to promote it. I mean, they'll stand by it. They'll die for it. Just look at Waco, Texas. Look at David Koresh. Look at all those innocent people that burned to death. I don't support what David Koresh believed in. I don't support how he lived. But I sure as hell don't support what the government did to those people either. That was criminal. Killing innocent men, women, and children for nothing. They were not hurting anybody except for themselves. People say, well, now that goes against what you're talking about. These people are cults. Well, look, if an adult wants to make a decision to worship a tree or a pancake, then that's on you. Okay? It's on you. But when you start inflicting your nonsense on other people, then that's when it's up to us as a society to put a stop to it, to say, no, you're full of crap. And that's exactly what I did the other night. I finally got on his show, and I had a debate with this individual, kind of, and I called him out, and I made him look like a fool. In my opinion, I think I did, but I'll allow the listeners of this show to determine whether or not I did or I didn't. I know some of the listeners of this show heard me when I was over on Inappraised Media as a co-host and a guest many times, and I had debates with the pastors over there of the churches, and we went at it, back and forth, and I had many people email me. They just could not answer your questions. You know, they just could not, and I made them look like idiots. That's why I finally got my own show. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here now. So why not go back to the foundation on how I started? I wasn't searching for this that night. I wasn't trying to put on a show. It just happened. And I was able to get the recording of that show, the last minutes of that show, and I'm not sure if anyone will be able to hear that show or not through my microphones here. If you cannot, then like I said, I will fix things to the best of my capability, and I will have that show broadcasted for you tomorrow evening at 6:30. But I will try tonight. Okay, I'm going to do my best. And hopefully, like I said, I do have a couple people in the chat room, and I'm going to ask that you type in the chat box if you can hear it clearly, because we have several people on the phone lines tonight. And I have other people that are listening through their smartphones and through the Internet. So I'm going to try to go ahead and put this on here. So just give me 1 minute, and I'm going to put it on. Please let me know if you can hear it clearly. If you can't through the microphones or the telephones, then like I said, what I'll do is I'll try to download a clear version tomorrow evening, and I'll have it clear for you. Because it's worth listening to, because you're going to listen to an idiot. You're going to listen to an idiot back down and look like an idiot. But he's going to call me an idiot. Okay? He's going to make a fool out of himself. He and I went kind of back and forth in a professional way. We were not yelling at each other. It was conducted in a professional way. I will say that. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and put that on right now, and hopefully everyone will be able to hear it clearly. Well, yeah, that's me, Joseph Gibson. I'm calling from Reedsville, North Carolina. And I'm in your chat room typing many questions, and nobody in there. I don't know if they're supporters of your show or if they're just people that are just agitators. However, they did tell me to press 1, and I've been waiting for 45 minutes to ask you several questions. First, I'd like to know, what is your educational background on these types of topics and theology and world history? Because you quoted several things where I cannot find any type of factual foundation to your belief or what you're talking about. I mean, if you're just discussing opinions, then I can respect that. But I have a master's degree in theology and world history, and whatever you have stated tonight about Scientology and all these other subjects, I do not find any type of foundation in my Bible or other Bibles.
Nobody's said anything about Scientology, and what are you referencing specifically?
Well, you stated that, for instance, the King James Bible is what? Only written by inspiration. Well, if you're just trying to disprove or put down people who have faith and believe that the Bible was inspired by God himself, then I don't think that is the right stance to take, because you have no facts to back it up. The Textus Receptus manuscripts are the oldest manuscripts that do coincide with the 7th translation of the King James Bible. And all prophecy leads to the book of Daniel, where he states that the 7th, even in the book of Psalms, where the 7th translation would be in English. Okay, and that was the King James Bible.
Hold on, I'm not going to argue with you on a bunch of this stuff because we've only got 8 minutes. But all I said was that the work of Ibn Panin, King James Version of the Bible, is inspired. And that the Bible codes, because they also work and are discovered on the King James Version of the Bible, that is also verification of their being inspired.
Okay, I'll respect that, but where did, like, for instance, the latest finding by archaeology, even science, what about the Dead Sea Scrolls that even coincide with the Textus Receptus manuscript? I mean, so, you know, these books that you're saying were not put in the Bible, that belong in the Bible, you know, coincide or are friendly to the Mormons and these other cults that are, you know, promoting and downgrading the rightfully dividing Christian out there who is an independent Bible believer. And that's the threat to these cults today. Now, I don't understand. What is really your belief personally? I mean, because I didn't get it throughout I listened to your entire show. What is your real, because you went all over the place with what you were talking about, and I couldn't really make sense of it. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I couldn't pinpoint, like, what is your belief as an individual and person on earth today? I don't understand.
Well, I'm a believer in the Most High God, and I'm a believer in Yeshua as Savior Messiah, and I believe the King James Version of the Bible is an inspired text, and that there's much to learn, and I also believe that the Book of Enoch is inspired, and that it teaches us a lot of things that are not well received or accepted, like the flat Earth, and that the Earth is not spinning as a planet, and it's not part of a solar system, that it's fixed, it's firm, it's immovable, and it was established as foundation for the heavens that were spread out as curtain above it, just like it says in the Word.
Okay, well, okay, you answered my question respectfully, and at the same time, like I said, I have a master's degree in theology. I've studied cults and what you believe, and the Book of Mormon, the Jehovah's Witness, all of them, okay? And it's hard in 8 minutes to a theological debate going, because I waited for 45 minutes to be put through. So would you like to have me back where I can bring my facts and you can compare your facts, and we can have an honest theological debate about what you are preaching here? Because I believe what you're saying, and no disrespect, and you're fermenting people's minds, and I don't like that. I don't like that as a person.
You're totally entitled to your opinion, but no, I don't think I'm going to get into a semantic debate with you on what you think that I'm teaching is garbage. Why would I even, if you don't want to listen, fine, don't. But other people respect and honor what I'm bringing forth, and they appreciate it. And if you don't, that's fine.
I respect that. All I'm asking you to do is prove what you're talking about. Like, for instance, when I went to
prove what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you gave me YouTube links created by people that are with IP addresses that go to GoDaddy. I looked them up and researched them. I went to Yale University, okay, for 7 years. I can back up and give you actual documentation of what I'm talking about.
Some kind of authority? Because
I asked you for your educational background. I asked you for your educational background. You haven't given it to me yet. Where have you gone to school? What have you studied? It makes you think
so you think that just because you go to school and you have some paperback degree that makes you some authority on the Word of God? Look at how many PhD degrees buy into the Earth as being a planet, and how many of them believe that we evolved of apes, and they're supposed to be some kind of authority? So I'm asking you is, well, okay, no, I'm not. No, listen, I'm not trying to put you. I'm asking you. Well, that's educational background you have. That's exactly what you're trying to say.
You're doing your worldly view.
And who are you, and what kind of education do you have? Come on, man.
Well, you're giving me a worldly, independent belief and a liberal belief. What I'm trying to do is put you on the spot and say, hey, what have you studied that makes you an authority on this subject? Where have you been?
I've studied a lot of things. I've written 9 books about it. Why don't you read some of those and maybe formulate an opinion from some of my research instead of just coming on and judging me over an hour?
I have not judged you. I have not judged you. I have not judged you, and I'm not trying to put on a show for anyone. I stumbled across your show and was listening, and when people talk about spirituality, world history, and scientific facts, and they're trying to put their opinion and apply it as factual foundation to our way of believing every day, I take offense to that because that's not the truth.
Some of my books or listen to some of my other shows before formulating your opinion and having some kind of judgmental bias. Anyway,
I don't have judgmental bias.
The end of the show.
I don't have judgmental bias, sir, and if you don't want me on your show, I'll invite you onto my show. And you can bring whoever you want, and I'll put together a panel, and you can prove me wrong and make me look like an idiot on my show. I'll challenge you right now on your show.
You've already got somebody.
8 minutes.
Come on,
you've given me 8 minutes
with you and all this.
You gave me 8 minutes to state my facts. How can I state all my facts in 8 minutes while arguing with people in your chat room at the same time? I'm asking you to stand up for what you believe in. I'm asking you as a man, as a human being, to stand up for what you believe in.
Stand up for what I believe in, and that's why I do the work that I do. And people like you that disagree with me, that's fine. You can have your own opinion and your own disagreement. I respect you for where you are, but just because you have some Yale degree or some paperback degree doesn't make you an authority on God's Word.
I believe it does because I put a lot of hard work into real research and a lot of hard work into writings and teachings and listening to a lot of people over the years. I believe that
just like all the people that go to seminary and that learn and are taught and indoctrinated into only what is accepted to be taught in seminary. They don't even know anything about the Nephilim or the giants or any of the other things which are the secrets that are contained within the gospel. You only learn and know and accept what they allow and want you to know and teach. Same thing with all the educational systems where they teach about that we evolved the monkeys and that Darwinism is, the scientific belief that everybody is supposed to buy into, and that we...
I don't believe in Darwinism at all. No, I don't buy into Darwinism at all because if he had the technology, scientific information, he would never have written the book that he did and the books he did. Actually, Darwin was an accountant. He knew nothing about science. But anyway, I don't want to waste time getting into that. What I'm trying to ask you is, look, I'm not disrespecting you, and I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm just asking you, and on an educational standpoint on your show, come out. If you don't want me on yours, okay. I'm inviting you to mine. Let's bring your side of the story and facts and your educational background and bring it and compare it to mine. And let's see where the truth lies. Isn't that what it's all about in the world? Are you just automatically correct and and that's the way it's got to be.
I don't even know who you are. I don't even know what show you do. I don't even know what your belief system is. But if you are just trying to invite me on so you can try to prove me wrong and you correct,
I told you why I wanted you on.
I don't have no interest in that. I don't have to.
I told you why I wanted you on. I told you. I just told you, from a man to man and a human being to a human being and of one belief to another, to bring your educational expertise onto my show, and I will bring you my paper degree like you insulted me, and let's have a normal conversation, and let's see who can prove who wrong. Because I know for a fact, through my historical notes and research, I don't have no interest in it. I don't want to go. You want to prove wrong. You want to be proved wrong, sir?
No, that's not the truth at all. I just don't want to have to come on to try to prove myself on somebody's program. I know what I've done, and I'll look, brother. I'm going to let you go. There's no point and no need in continuing this, and I don't feel like
that's right. Discredit me. That's right. Cut me off, discredit me, because you have no answers for me. You've not answered one question I've asked you tonight. You are a phony, sir.
Whatever.
You're a phony. You're a phony. You're a phony. You are. You know it. That's why you're cutting me off. That's right. Right? Am I right or wrong?
Yeah. Right, brother. I apologize, people. This is just another one of those trolls that tries to come on and, disrupt the program, and he did succeed in doing that, and I apologize that I had to, allow him to come on for that long and disrupt the program for 20 minutes, and I'll pick up next week, and we'll try to cover some more of this information and help you to understand it as far as the
Okay, guys, hang on, let me mute that. Very good, very good, very good. All right, well, in the chat room, I heard you guys could hear it pretty well. It's a little low volume-wise, but oh well, turn your volume up. I'm sorry, I did the best I can. I wanted to put it out there because I advertised it tonight, and I didn't want to put everyone off until tomorrow night. And I'm just going to give you a viewpoint here. I'm going to explain to you what this man is all about so you know and you understand, because he did make a good counter-argument. I'll give him that. But that's only because you may not know what he's talking about. He's talking about the Nephilims, okay, and he's talking about the giants of the earth, the dinosaurs, and he's talking about the angels that came to the earth and lived as giants among men. Hercules, the Greek gods. Like I said, Hercules and all those giants, the mystical creatures that we all heard of in cartoons when we were kids. And they still have those shows today. That's what he's talking about, okay? That's what he believes in. He's an agnostic, basically. Or I don't know the name off the top of my head. But what he's trying to do is he's saying that there was books left out of the Bible purposely, and that we are not allowed to see that information. But yet he's going to make up in his own mind and through his own research, independent research, that he did not prove to me or even give me any reference to where he was getting his research from, that what he was saying is the truth. Now, I'm going to tell you something right now. Maybe some people do believe that books were left out of the Bible. Let me tell you something. What God do you believe in? What kind of God do you worship? Do you think that God is not all that powerful? The being that created the planet and the solar system and you as a creature on Earth, a human being, in his own image. If you do not think he is all that powerful to preserve his word for all men to see, then you know what? Put him in a paper bag. You put him in a box someplace. He can't get out. Because let me tell you something. Yes, God did not come down here with a pen and piece of paper and write the Bible. He spoke to men through their conscience and their heart. Angels did appear to men to write these things down. We all heard testimony and after-death experiences, even on this show, from individuals. Even my own after-death experience I told you about. afterlife, after death, I'm sorry, afterlife experience when we die and we start to go to the other side. And there are people around the planet today who died and saw what happened after they died. And what I'm trying to tell you is that these prophets 2,000 years ago were visited by angels, by the Holy Ghost, and they were told to write these things down. And they were written and preserved throughout the years. And they were translated 7 times, just like the Bible prophesied they would be. And the last translation was in English, the most important language around the world today and the final language. English is the last and final language, the 7th translation. The King James Authorized Version is the Word of God. There's no books left out. Enoch, Bebach, this, that, Bebach, whatever the heck he wants to call it. He has no proof of that, and I asked him. I asked that gentleman point blank, what is your foundation of belief? What do you believe in? Where do you get your facts from? Can I go research this myself? Maybe I'm wrong. Hey, I'm always open to learning. Gave me nothing. Instead, at the end of the show, he called me a troll and insulted me because that's what liberals do. That's what these liberal evolution, agnostic, atheist people do. When they're put into a corner and they're boxed in and they cannot answer the question or provide the truth, what do? They start calling you names. And they make fun of you. Your paper degree, he says. Your paper. Well, let me tell you something. You're going to have a doctor operate on you who studied in the basement of his parents' home and didn't go to school and get a degree? He says, why do you have a degree? That makes you an expert on things? Oh, yes, it does. I went to school. I was given a degree because it was satisfied that I completed the courses and study requirements to do and know about that particular subject. Idiot. You idiot. But he tells me just because you got a degree, that doesn't make you an authority on anything. Like I just said, do you want a doctor operating on you that studied in the basement of his parents' house for 10 years? No. When you go to your doctor's office or even your lawyer's office, what do you look for? You look for that plaque on the wall that says he studied at such and such a place, completed so many years of school, and he's an authority on this subject. So yes, having a degree does make me an authority on this subject. Studying for several years, and I had the best study requirements known. I was in a box. I had no side distractions whatsoever. I was in a concrete box. That's all I did all day was study. Okay? But this idiot, and you see, he was mad at the end. You see, he got me on. You want to know why? Because like I told you, I outsmarted him. I got on there because he just couldn't resist that carrot hanging in front of him. He thought he was going to tear me up and make me look like an idiot. Instead, at the end, who got the last word? You're a phony, sir. You're a phony. That's what I told him. He's a phony baloney. And these blog talk shows out there tonight and today that are out there fermenting people's minds, making them believe the wrong way, even these Catholic priests out there molesting little boys, all these things give us, the people, the true believer, the good people, a bad name. And that's not right. And that's what I told him. You are wrong, sir. You are wrong. That's why I did what I did, and I wanted to play it for my listeners tonight. Because that's what I do on the side, you see. I'm just not about all talk when we come on this show. When you're not listening to this show, what am I doing? I'm out there prowling around. I'm out there looking, researching, looking for things, so that I can bring this information to you. Some information may not pertain to the things you want to hear. But I guarantee you all the information and the things that I talk about will help you one day, somewhere, sometime down the road. I know. Because through the experience of my life And what I have been through and what I suffered and been through, I know for a fact what I know and what I'm learning today that I can pass along to others so that they can help themselves. People who refuse to help themselves or who are trying to benefit from knowledge or information that's given to them, look, there's nothing you can do about that. You can't help people who don't want to be helped. There's nothing you can do about that. All you can do is just wait. I have many family members who cannot be helped. They're lost. They're gone. All I can do is sit back and wait and see what happens. And I know a lot of you out there feel maybe the same way. That's all you can do is sit back and wait. Stop worrying about it. Stop wondering and don't worry about it, because every individual in life has his own free will to make his own decisions. But when it comes to children, that's a different story. We must protect and help our children because they're our future and they rely on us. So if you're in my family or another family or someone else's family and there are young people who are suffering, who don't have what they need, who need support, then it's up to us as individuals and adults and senior family members to help them. And if you don't, shame on you. You are really not a good person, because we have to help the children because they're our future. They are our future, whether you like it or not. Because one day, a lot of us are not going to be able to help ourselves. We become old, we become out of shape, we become sick, a lot of things. And what do when that happens? We rely on the younger people to help us and take care of us. And if we don't have a knowledgeable younger generation out there, what the hell are we going to do when we're 82 years old and we can't take care of ourselves? You're in trouble. You going to go to the state? You going to rely on that nurse that visits you every week? Oh, Lord. Oh, stranger. She's more worried about her text messages and her face page than she is you. We need our family. We need our friends, and we need everyone to contribute. It's not about the money. It's not about material possessions. It's about taking care of each other so we can progress and make a difference in the world that we live in. Not the whole world in a whole general sense, but our little worlds that we live in together. We all have a history together, all of us. Whether we're directly affected by each other or indirectly affected by each other. And those, like I said, who are lost, they must learn on their own. I had to go through that myself. And trust me, what I saw, what I lived through, tell you something, each and every day, like I told you, you want to know what it was like? Go at the end of this show and sit in your bathroom and close the door and lock it and stay in there for an hour. Then imagine you're going to stay in there all night, and imagine, guess what? You're going to wake up in there, and you're going to stay in there all day, and someone's going to bring in your food. Okay, someone's bringing in your food, though, because you got to eat. You know, we have to make sure you eat. So we're going to bring in your food. You're not going anywhere. You're going to stay in that bathroom, okay? Got your blanket and your pillow in there, so you can lay down if you want. And you're going to stay there another day, and then you're going to stay another day. How about a couple weeks? How about a month? How about 6 months? How about a year? How about 5 years? How about 8 years? How would you feel? What would you do? Those walls start to bite you. They start to eat at you. You start to recognize every inch and mark on those walls because there's nothing to look at all day. But you see, I read books. I reached out to people. Hey, send me this book. Can you mail me this, please? Hey, mailing out letters. I took courses, college courses. Please, more information. I had to look at something. I didn't want to look at the bricks anymore. I already knew there were 48 bricks going up from the bottom to the ceiling. I knew there were 72 going from one side to the other. I counted them every day for a while. I knew how long it took for the toilet to flush before it stopped. When you got running water and you push the button and the water runs, guess what? You push the button, the water runs for 30 seconds. After that, it shuts off, and you can't push it again for another 5 minutes. So you better get all the water you can during that 30 seconds. Those are the sinks you got. And I'm talking about the prison system. So that's where you're at when you're confined. So all those stories that you hear, people are watching cable TV, they're having fun, they're eating steaks, ice cream, and it's one big blast and a party. No, it's not. At least where I was, anyway. At least where I saw. And I spent time in 12 different prisons. 12 of them, folks. I was set up, and I had to spend time there. And if you want to know about it, like I said, purchase a copy of my book. I can't tell you the whole book tonight, and that's not what this show is about. But if you want to know about what I'm talking about a little bit here in the background of my personal life, then purchase a copy of my book, Behind the Walls, by Joel Hodgkin. Go to Amazon.com and you can get a copy. If you can't afford it because you don't have any money and you're broke and you really want to read it, send me an email and I'll mail you one for free. My email is joegibsonisHome@yahoo.com. joegibsonisHome@yahoo.com. I will mail you one for free. Don't lie to me and tell me you just want one for free for the hell of it. I don't like that. Be honest. If you can't afford it, of course, I'm going to try to get it to you for free, okay? And after all, what am I talking about here? That's what it's all about, guys. That's what it's all about. But this jackass I spoke to the other night, I challenged him to come on this show, and he would not. Tell me something. If you had a show, a radio show, and you believe the way he did and the way he does, why wouldn't you stand up for what you believe in? If somebody calls me tonight and says, hey, I think your show's a bunch of garbage, you need to explain yourself. Come on to my show. Tell me what you're about. Let's have a discussion. I would. Why not? Hey, I got an internet radio blog talk radio show here. I got a podcast here. I got a worldwide internet radio show that broadcasts around the world. It's archived. It's there. My shows from 2 months ago are still there on the internet. Type in my name, you'll find them. So if someone confronted me and came on here tonight and said, hey, I want to know about you. What are you talking about? Why do you say the things you do? What are you about? I'm going to answer them. I'd be more than happy to take that challenge. Am I wrong? I don't know. I'm willing to learn. What I'm trying to say is I'm going to stand up for what I believe in, and that coward would not. Because that's what you are, sir. On my show tonight, I will call you out again. You are a coward. For real, you are a coward. And you disgust me, and I don't want to see you on Blog Talk Radio. I hope you're removed from this program network because you are bringing shame. You are disinforming the people on the internet. You are lying to them. You have no information of any value but your own personal belief. Go open up a Facebook page someplace, sir. You are a coward. All right, I'll take calls right now. If anyone wants to call in real quick, if not, I'll wrap it up. So if everyone's got an opinion, a question, or wants to talk about anything that I talked about tonight, you can. The phone number is 657-383-0616. After you dial, you press 1, and I will queue live with me. So if you have a question and you want to say something, by all means, please do. If not, I understand. If you missed the beginning of the show, I understand. The show is archived. Hey, and I recommend my supporters also go back and download the show and save it because that also is a hit. What I'm trying to say is it's a hit. It's a listen. And listens are very important for the ratings of the show. And I know a lot of you want to see this show be successful. So you've got to go back and download the show, okay? And save it to your computer. Now, I mean, you could delete it later. Once you save it once, that's great. But if you go back and download it, it's a hit and it's a listen. It's what they really call it an impression, okay? And I'm not going to get into all that, but it's called an impression, and it shows as a listen in the ratings. And last month our ratings were really good, but I want to see them triple. You know, we had 1,044 downloads last week. That's pretty good, right? We had almost 1,100 people listen to what we were talking about. Not bad. I don't think that's too bad at all for only being on the air for 2 months. Like I said, I'm not Ronald Reagan. I'm not Obama. I'm not famous here. But we're trying to bring a message to everybody. That's what it's all about. I got Reedsville, North Carolina, and she sent me a message, and her phone has been screwed up lately. So we're going to try to put her on. If it's messed up, I'll have to mute you. But I know you're trying, and we got to get that fixed right away because I know you like to contribute. But I'm going to go ahead and try to put you on. Go ahead, you're on. No, it's not working tonight. I'm sorry. Nope, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. Okay, I got to mute you. That's too bad, too, because that's one of our main supporters of the show, and she contributes. That's too bad. She contributes to the show and offers a lot of good points, you know, and talks about, you know, important things. Anyway, hey, what do you guys think about tonight's show anyway? Do you got an opinion on it? Can I get anybody out there who's on the phone line tonight? I got 22 people on the phone line tonight. Can I get someone's opinion about what I was talking about? I really appreciate it. I'm sorry, Reedsville, and we all know who she is. That's Bridget from Reedsville, North Carolina, and she wants to contribute, and that's too bad. We're going to try to fix that problem first thing tomorrow. I'm sorry, because she does offer a lot of valuable points. All right, I got Mike out in Wisconsin, another supporter of the show. Hey, Mike, go ahead. I'm putting you on. How you doing?
Hey, good evening, Joe. Hello, everybody. You know, I listen to, you know, what you played and everything. And, you know, the difference between basically you and that gentleman is you're high octane, you know, and he's kerosene. I mean, he had no fight in his voice, no enthusiasm. I mean, he talked like a turtle. I mean, I almost fell asleep when the guy talked. You know, and you're bouncing all over him, and that's why he had to run. His brain that was all tapioca pudding couldn't keep up with what you were asking him. You know, and you know what? Your shows, if you want to compare shows, you know, you're out here helping people. You're out here, you know, discussing things, telling people about what's going on in the world and, you know, things like that. And he wants to talk about fictitious junk. And that's right, you know, Mike. That's right. His show is for weak-minded individuals that just want to be entertained. And if that's what they like, then that's what they like. But you know, we're not comparing apples to apples here. You know. Yeah. And I just wanted to let you know that, you know, even though you do get on here and you do get a little heated now and then, but you know what? I'd rather have you like that than you know, mopey mope. And because I don't know how anybody could stand listening to that guy for an hour and a half. You know? You're right, Mike. You're right. And hey, listen, I know you would tell me if I was wrong. I know you would, Mike, because you know what? You're an honest supporter of this show. And you know what? You have told me when I was wrong in the past. You have disagreed with me on a couple topics, actually, but we did it in a polite and professional manner. But what I'm trying to say is I appreciate that, and that is the exact analysis
that I give of that individual that I spoke with that night. And, you know, the name of his show is Fallen Angels. And the thing of it is, Mike, it's a cult. I researched it, and they're a cult. They, like I told you, they believe in the Book of Enoch and all the books that aren't included in the Bible, supposedly. And they have their little communities where they can have 10 wives and 18 daughters, and they can marry them. You know what I mean?
That's the only reason he has followers, then, is because he's like Al Qaeda. He's promising people things that he has no idea that whether he can, you know, actually get, you know, Al Qaeda, you know, go out and kill people, and if you die, well, you're going to go to heaven and have 72 virgins. You know?
That's right. And actually, Mike, if you read the chat box, if you would have logged in, I know you didn't, but I'm trying to tell people what I saw that night. They believe the end of the world is going to happen on October 28th. They believe that the end is coming October 28th. That's what they say. They already predicted, hey Mike, they already predicted it once back in June. But they had an excuse why it didn't happen. You know what I mean?
I'm surprised it didn't say it was going to happen yesterday when we had the two eclipses, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you know, these people that are predicting the end of the world, you know what? We don't know when he's going to come down and
Mike.
take us up. You know, we don't know that.
That's right.
If we did, then you can start calling me God, because
exactly
nobody knows. And you know, you can say you can predict anything you want, but you know what? I'll use your words. He's a phony baloney.
Yeah, well, I wanted to use polite words, and that's why I called him out at the end. I knew he was getting ready to disconnect me because I'm a host of a show, so I know what he was trying to do. He was trying to exit me out of there. That's why I put that in there at the end. I said, I know you're getting ready to shut me off, so you know what? You're a phony. You know, and that's what I was trying to get at. But go ahead, Mike.
For you to call him a phony, and then for him to start calling you a troll and, you know, things of that nature, I mean, you know, you can tell. You know, his degree he got from a bubblegum machine. And
that's right.
Because I kind of get angry about shows like this. I really do. Because, you know, I'd rather have somebody listen to a show that, you know, like just like when the other gentleman, John, called in. You know?
Yep.
Called in, you participated, you know, and you tried to get him a job, you tried to push him in the right direction. And you know what? John might learn something from that. You know?
That's right. And the thing of it is, Mike, he's a teenager. He doesn't have much knowledge. I'm not saying he's dumb. What I'm trying to say is that he's young, you know, and he doesn't.
Mike. His experience is low because he hasn't. You know, that's the catch-22. I want a job, but I have no experience. Well, I'm not hiring you until you do. Well, that's It's like you know.
I know the poor kid can't find anything, you know, and we are trying to help him. I mean, he's not a bad kid. I mean, you know, he's calling into a radio show where most people are scared to call in. You know, I've had emails, Mike, where they say, nobody's going to know my username, right? Nobody's going to see my username. Are you sure nobody's going to know my name? And they're scared to death to call in.
What are you scared of? You know, I mean, so what? They see your username. I have no idea what you use, who your real name is, if you're using, you know, Pinhead 2012. I mean, I don't know. You know, I don't know what your real name is. I don't know why people are scared. I mean, it's just like talking.
Mike, I swear to you. Yeah, I swear to you, Mike, I get emails all the time. Hey, I'll call into your show, but you know what? I don't want anyone to know who I am, okay? And I'm like, yeah, it's no problem. I'll keep you anonymous. And then they never show up. But they listen because I'll see them log into the chat room sometimes, or I'll see them on the phone line listening. And it's like, listen, if you're listening tonight and you want to participate, just press the freaking 1, man. I'm not going to insult you, and nobody knows who you are. You know?
And if you're scared to do that, then if you're logging in online, ask the question online. You know.
That's right. That's right.
You know, my brother Joey's on here a lot, and you know, he's very knowledgeable in herbs and you know, and nutrition, and well, really.
It's like Joe in Sebastian, Florida. Every time he calls in, and he gives his knowledge and his historical background and the experiences that he has. Like, for instance, he called in last week, and I got about, I would say, I'm not going to lie, I would say about 3 or 4 emails that asked who he was, and they liked him calling in, and they learned a lot. Like when he was talking about when he was over in Egypt and everything. They like that. You know, people want to learn.
He's been to Japan, you know, and you know, he was over there quite a while, and you know, he had to take vacations to get off that, you know, that floating, whatever you want to call it, you know, and he had to take vacations to get out of there for a while, and you know, he went to Japan, and I know he went other places, and off the top of my head, I can't think of it, but you know,
that's okay. I understand.
I've never been to Japan.
Yeah,
you know,
but Mike, that's what people said. They said, "Look, I never been to Egypt." He said, and they didn't know about the things he was saying about their customs and everything. And you know, I really did. I got 3 or 4. I think it was about 4 emails from people who are strangers. Because look, you heard tonight. I give my email address out, and people email me, and I read them. Sometimes there's a lot of spam in there and a lot of garbage, but a couple people will say, "Hey, this is pertaining to your show last night," and like 3 or 4 people asked about Joe in Florida, and they said they like it when he calls in because he offers knowledge and experience. And I've gotten a ton of people from Joe and Meriden too who want to know about nutrition.
Another person I wish would call in and give their, you know, just give their knowledge is Jason. Jason's been all over the world. He's been everywhere. I mean, and it's like,
that's true.
You know, I would like to know what the people in Sweden are like, or I would like to know what, you know, people in France are like.
Well, you know what, Mike? You know what I'm going to do? Well, Mike, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to invite Jason to come on tomorrow. Usually when I invite him, he'll come, usually. So what I'll try to do is say, hey, we had a couple listeners out there tonight that want to hear from you, and give us an update. Because remember, he was looking for a job. He found a job. Give us an update. And, you know, hey, if you really are what you believe in, and you stand and you talk the talk and walk the walk, then prove it. Because people want to hear from you. And so I'll invite him on tomorrow. Hopefully he'll call in, you know?
No, let's hope so. I mean, it's people, I haven't heard of a show like this out there. You know, most shows are just like you said, the host talks and everything else, and you know, if they have a paid guest, then they put that guest on, you know, and if it's a show that's got, you know, hundreds of thousands of people listening and everything like that, good luck trying to get in on the call.
Oh, well, if they got hundreds of thousands of people listening, it's easy for those shows to get 5 or 10 callers. And I'm going to let you know right now, those national shows, like you see, remember, a lawyer is not going to come on to a TV show unless he's paid, okay? So when you see these big talk shows on TV, those people are paid to come on to those shows. And, if I waved a $1,000 bill in front of people and said, I need attorney so-and-so to come on tomorrow night, of course they're going to do it for me, Mike, you know? But we're not about that.
You know what would be great, Joe? I just got an idea. No, you said something about an attorney. You know, too bad we couldn't get an attorney to call in and, you know, people could ask him questions, you know, or even a plumber, or even you know, electrician, or you know what I'm saying, somebody that has knowledge in a field, specific knowledge, and you know, it's just like electrician.
Well, I can't. Well, Mike, I will, and you know what, you said you just got an idea, and thanks. And you know what, tomorrow I'm going to search. I'm going to get a couple people to try to call in tomorrow night with that professional background, you know, an electrician, a plumber, or an attorney, and we can and give us and tell us a few things about what's going on legal-wise, or
Right.
like an electrician. Maybe you can give us some advice about our houses, our homes, or a plumber about our homes, or a heating and air conditioning guy, you know?
Right. Real estate person would be great. Even, you know what? Even a teacher. Even a teacher would be great. Tell us what's really going on in schools. You know, now
you're right.
My wife has a cousin that's a teacher. You know, and every once in a while we meet up with her. She comes over, and just, you know, and she tells us what's going on in the school. You know, and it's like I don't know. They don't really teach him anything anymore. It's all a big play session.
Well, if you
remember,
if you remember, we had Savannah and John on last week. They were two teenagers who go to high school, and they, you know, it's hard to get information out of, like, for instance, Savannah, because they're teenagers, and teenagers really have no social skills today. You know, I'm not trying to put anybody down. What I'm saying is that it's like you got to pull the information out of them. You know, you got to pull it because they won't volunteer nothing. You know.
Well, I'll be quiet and I'll let anybody else that wants to chime in and say hello or anything. But I just wanted to let you know that between your show and his show, I mean, there is no contest. And
I appreciate that, Mike. I really do. I appreciate that. And the name of his show, and hey, listen, I'll tell you what, Mike, and I appreciate that. Okay, I know you want to be muted. Okay. But what I'm trying to say, Mike, is, and I know you're still going to be listening, I'll go ahead and mute you now. I'll go ahead and mute you, so if you have any background noise. But, yeah, the thing of it is that his show is not genuine. It's formatted. And I appreciate you, Mike, giving me an honest opinion, and that's why I played that for my listeners tonight. I really wanted to give everyone out there a perspective of other alternative media shows and what they're talking about and how they handle their guests. And if anyone disagrees with them, that's what they do. They call them names. They downgrade them. And you see, but like Mike said, I really appreciate that because I thought I did the same thing. I stood my ground because I'm no dummy. You're not going to twist my words around and try to embarrass me. I called him out on the floor. And I'm going to tell you something right now. In his chat box that night, I had about 7 people who typed me messages after the show and said, wow, this guy's a jerk. You did really good, Joe. Because I gave my full name, I gave my show address, and I told him what I was going to do, and I stuck by it. So I appreciate that, Mike. And Mike's a supporter of the show. I really do appreciate that. And Mike out in Wisconsin. Without him, I'm going to tell you right now, this show would not be as successful without Mike out in Wisconsin. So that's great. And I got someone else who wants to call in, and that's the same thing with Joe in Florida. Without him and his little tidbits of information when he calls in, that's great. And we have several other people that call in consistently. And it's just like Bridget in Reedsville. Her opinions matter because I had people tell me in emails, hey, she's on point, you know. So we'll get her communication problems fixed, I promise. But anyway, I got Joe and Meriden. I'm going to put him on real quick because we got 19 minutes left. Are you on, Joe? I hope so. Are you on?
Yeah, the unmuted came late. It came after your second attempt to talk to me.
Yeah, I know. It's delayed. I've been having technical difficulties. I told you guys that. Everything's delayed. I don't know why. But go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, listen. Well, you know, I kind of sit back and take things easy, and I really don't care what anybody does. But speaking of shows, you know, he's doing his show, and you're doing your show, and it's called a show for a reason. And so, but we won't go there. You know, if he doesn't want to debate you, that's up to him. You know, you want to debate him, and he doesn't want to hear it. Maybe he doesn't know any more than what he knows. Just because you may have a degree, he may not. I don't discount anything he has to say. Of course, I don't know anything about what he's talking about, so I can't comment on that. But I mean, just because you have a degree, let me finish this before you go, doesn't make you more knowledgeable than someone who doesn't, but it gives you more credibility for sure. And it's like you said, you're not going to get operated on by a doctor that practices in the basement, because there are plenty of people out there that are self-taught that know far more than someone with a degree. But you have to make the decision, and I can respect him for not wanting to come on your show, and vice versa, I guess. But evidently, it's like I always said. You got to be careful about these people out there, because they all. I can't say all, because I don't want to go that route at all, but they all have an agenda, and that's what they're going to promote. Maybe he's making a fortune doing what he's doing, and if he is, he's not going to deviate one bit whatsoever. And he's going to call you a troll, and he's going to call you every name in the book. But they're good to listen to, and I wouldn't listen to his show because I don't know what he's talking about from what I heard. But let him go on his merry way.
Well, what I was trying to say is that I made that point during he and I when we were arguing back and forth there. Not arguing, but talking back and forth. Is that the point of it is that he's trying to make assumptions and points about history. And he's promoting a certain topic that is very important to a lot of people. And he's doing it with no facts and no background. And I don't like that. And that's not right.
Then you know what you do? Listen to his show. And you can play a clip of what he says, and then you can put your comments to what you think it is on your show.
Well, no, I understand, and that's what you would do. But what I did was I want to be on his show live. I want his listeners to hear me call him out, and that's what I did. Because what did you just say in the beginning? It's a show. And that's what I'm trying to do. I have got to make my listeners want to listen to my show. And what I did was I want my listeners to know what else was out there, and it's garbage.
I want to be 5'4", 28 years old, blue eyes, female, married to a multi-billionaire. But you see, that's not going to happen. So I have to be satisfied with the way I am.
No, I understand that, but what I'm trying to say is, though, is like I said, he's talking about spiritual things, and he gives basically, like I said, it's a cult. He has a following of certain people, and you got to remember now, people become victims of these people. It's very dangerous. They brainwash these people.
Then listen to his show and comment it on your show. You'll get his listeners listening to your show.
I did. Well, that's what I did basically, but I wanted to let everyone know on my show what I was doing and what I talked about on his show, and that's what I did. And I did get a lot of his listeners listening tonight and in previous nights, because it tells me, my studio tells me who logs in and listens to my shows. So I did.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. As far as getting an attorney on here, I don't belong to the BAR, the BAR, CNN, the FBI, NSA, or any of those. But all full-fledged attorneys belong to the Bar Association. That's why they can practice law. And they're practicing it. They really don't know it. They're just practicing it. But that's why they can do it, because from what I understand, the laws are copyrighted. And if you use those laws and you don't belong to the bar, that's copyright infringement, and you'll go to jail. So there must be something that says they have to be paid, but I don't know about that.
It's probably, that's what I was talking about. That's why when an attorney comes on to, like, for instance, I'm going to look into what you just said. I don't want to make any statements right now and then backtrack. But what Mike said is try to get an attorney on here who maybe is willing to volunteer his time and take questions or even talk about certain things and legal aspects that concern us. And that's what I was telling you. Like, for instance, I'm going to try to get the local sheriff here on the air to talk about the crime in Reedsville and Guilford County in North Carolina. That may not pertain to other people around the country, but we'll get a law enforcement officer who can maybe talk about the way crime is handled, and that's future shows. And I am working on that, but things take time. And yeah, you're right, Joe. I'm not going to pay anybody, though.
Right, and that's good. I do a lot here with DVDs, with copyright, patents, and trademarks, and I've been doing it for many years. And I've contacted many attorneys. You know what? Not one of them has gotten back to me. So you can see that if you're out there trying to do the right thing, you're not going to do it because no one's going to tell you the right thing to do. But you can't be ignorant of the laws either. And if you try and go and read these copyright or patent or trademark laws, you have to go to school for 4 years to do it.
Well, that's true. That's true. That's true. But that brings me back to what that guy was talking about. He said just because you have a degree or you studied at Yale or whatever, that makes you better than me. Well, it does. It does. And like you said, Joe, I'm not going to have a doctor operate on me who studied in the basement of my parents. I want to see that degree. I want to know where you went to school, and I want to see your credits.
Right. Well, whether it makes you better or not is irrelevant. Let's see. Let's see. Proof. Just because I learned everything I know out of my garage doesn't make me better than the guy that got the degree, or the guy that got the degree better than me. Let me show you what I know, or let me tell you what I know. That will make me better.
And what did I tell that guy? What did I tell him? Come on to my show, bring your expertise, your background, and what you know, and I'll bring you what I know in my panel, and let's have a conversation, human being to human being, man to man, and let's see where the truth lies. But he wouldn't do it.
That's right. That's right, because he has his own agenda, like I said at the beginning here, from the onset. He must be doing this for some reason, and who knows what the reason is, but you're not going to upset the apple cart.
That's right. That's right. All right, Joe. Well, I got my 10-minute mark here. They just told me. I know it says 12 on your clock, but it says when I check the studio, it says 9, actually.
I don't have a clock. I was in the house, but there was so much noise, I had to come out into my garage where it was quiet. I tried going out in the backyard. But the guy next door was screaming at his kids.
Well, that's a city for you. But anyway, Hey, listen, thanks for everyone who tuned in tonight.
We'll see.
And please tune in tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m. And, I'll have something else for everyone to chew on. Tonight was a pretty good show, and I'm sorry for the audios or whatnot. And, but you know what? Hey, I got to put stuff out there for everyone to talk. I know you just don't want to hear me talk. If you do, tell me. I'll talk forever. But what I'm trying to say is, hey, let's try to have a good show tomorrow evening. And if you got something you want to talk about or share, by all means, do it. All right? 6:30.
Bye, Mike.
6:30 p.m. Yeah, Mike's muted. But anyway, all right, thanks, Joe. And good night, everyone that tuned in tonight. Everyone's on the phone line tonight. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Good night.
like to report on the state of our war against the American people. We're mounting a sustained campaign to crack down on every American and every person of every faith and every nation, and to bring them to justice. All missions are being executed according to plan, without warning or provocation. Americans are being swept up in an international dragnet. Thousands of FBI agents are on the trail of other citizens here and abroad. It has everything to do with hate and evil and murder and prejudice. America's strong.
Come on.
We are armed!
What would you do if you do all the things we do? Would you stand up for truth? Or would you turn away too? And then what if you saw all of the things that's wrong? Would you stand tall and strong? Or would you turn and walk away? What would you do if you
Come on.
did all the things we knew? Would you stand up for truth? Or would you turn away too? And then what if you saw all of the things that's wrong? Would you stand tall and strong? Or would you turn and walk
I see a message from the government, like every day. I watch it and listen and call them all suckers. They wanted me about Osama or whatever. Picture me buying the scam. I said never. You in tune to a hard truth soldier spitting. I stay committed, gives a fuck to die, I lose commission. It's all a part of fighting devil state mind control, and all about the battle for your body, mind, and soul. And now I'm hoping you don't close your mind so they shape you. Don't forget they made us slaves, gave us AIDS and raped us. Another Bush season mean another war for profit. All in secret so the public never seek to stop it. The Illuminati, 666, all connected. Stole the votes, they control the race and take elections. It's the Skull and Bones Freemason Kill Committee. See the dragon getting shittier in every city.
What would you do if you did all the things we knew? Would you stand up for truth? Or would you turn away too? And then what if you saw all of the things that's wrong? Would you stand tall and strong? Or would you turn and walk away?
You have reached the maximum time permitted to record. You have reached the maximum time permitted to record. To listen to your message, press 2. Time. Record, press 3. Press 2. To re-record, press 3. Press star. Press 4. To cancel, press star. To send your message, press 1 at any time. To listen to your message, press 2. Time. 4. Press 3. Press 2. To re-record, press cancel, press star.
Fuck waving flag, bring these dragons to their knees. Oil, blood, money, make these killers ride cold. Suspicious suicide, people dying, never told. It's all a part of playing God, so you think we need them. While being Ashcroft, take away your rights to freedom. Bear witness to the sickness of these dictators. Hope you understand the time, brother, cause it's major.
What would you do